Once upon a time, I had a cross-cultural experience. This was when I went to Trinidad. My cousin, Joanna Goddard David, decided, that everyone calls her Joy, decided to get married. So naturally, we got an invitation. So we decided to go to Trinidad for this wedding. Now, I'm first generation, so I've been here my entire life, but my mom, she came over from Trinidad when she was about 15. So she's kind of Americanized since her default dish is mac and cheese, but my dad came over later when he was like 20-ish. So my uncle likes to call me Yankee, but I still grew up with macaroni pie, doubles, roti, peanut butter punch, and silk music.
Don't care if I whine on you. I want you start whining back. When the music starts to flow, make sure your waistline intact now. Don't care if I whine on you. I want you start whining back. When the music starts to flow, make sure your waistline intact now. We having a time this year. Every line be there. Come rain or shine, we up in that now. Look well, woman everywhere. It's a love affair. Man and woman does wine and end up on the ground. They call me Mr. Fett. Since I'm born, I never miss one yet. If sunshine in a dripping sweat, thunderstorm and a soaking wet. They say Mr. Fett, you're mad, and I say Mr. Fett, you're mad.
So I got on this plane, and I wasn't really worried because though I was American, I knew the music, I knew the food, and family's family. So you do what you gotta do, right? So I didn't think it would be too bad, but there were still some very noticeable differences. The first thing I noticed was how skinny they were. Oh my goodness, this is my cousin Janelle. She is so skinny, like model skinny. I am the smallest person in my family, and she is 4 times smaller than me. I blame the sizes of American portioned food. I just assume that we can't ever eat anything small. Anyways, the second thing I noticed was how nice they were. Me and my brother are the babies of the family. So all our older cousins tell us to go play with alligators because we seem to get in the way a lot. But these cousins were just so nice to us. They were just like, oh my goodness, we haven't seen you ever, but hey. But anyways, things aren't superficial. We did go for a wedding, so I did notice some similarities and differences in the tradition. So the first thing I noticed was a similarity. They did the married in a big church. They did the fluffy white dress. They did all of that good stuff. And there were some differences. So the first thing I noticed had to be the wedding cake. In Trinidad, you get married with black cake. You can ice it, you can top it, you can do whatever you want, but you have to be married, and your wedding cake has to be black cake. And the only black cake is rum cake, of course. Don't like rum cake? Too bad, because you have to get married with rum cake. And the other thing about the wedding cake is the guests don't eat the wedding cake. They get like a little bit. They get a little tiny 2-bite taste. But that's not even from the wedding cake. That is a different batch of the same cake made somewhere else. So what happens is the cake appears at the wedding, but it is not eaten at the wedding. Then the family takes the cake home. They take every piece of that cake home, and the family is eating wedding cake forever. We ate wedding cake for breakfast, we ate it for dessert, we ate it for a snack, but the family is the one who eats the wedding cake, not the guest. So that's something different, because I had my cousin here got married and we ate the cake at the wedding. Funny thing. Second Sunday. Oh my goodness. Second Sunday is so cool, and I want to do this when I get married. So what happens is you get married, you have your wedding reception, then you go on your honeymoon, and you have to be back by the Sunday after you get married, because then you have Second Sunday, which is the reception you have with family. So it's like another wedding reception, except you don't invite everyone that you invited to your wedding, but just the people that you're related to, like your family and your new extended family, and then you have another party. it's really cool, and it's a thing that I want to adopt when I get married. A really cool tradition because you get to party like for 3 weeks in a row. It's wonderful. So that's second Sunday. The next thing that I noticed was the pace. So, you know those commercials for travel agencies, and they're just like, come to the island because everyone's chill and cool and relaxed. It's really like that. It's really like that. Everyone's just like, oh, we're chilling out. I'd ask my uncle, hey, what are we doing today? He's like, oh, we're just chilling. And then I'd ask my cousins, hey, what are we going to do today? They're like, oh, nothing. We're relaxing. And I'm like, seriously? And everyone just has this manner about them that's so slow. Even my mom and aunts, I've seen these people book it down Times Square getting to work. I see these people run fast, like with this city mentality pace. They get to the island and their shoulders go back, and they have this new saunter, this slow feel that I've never seen them have before. Now, I'm city raised, born and bred in New York. So with 10 days of nothing to do, no technology, and this slow atmosphere, I started to get kind of restless, I won't lie. But then we went to the beach and it was all fine. So, something weird about the pace is that though their pace of life is slower than I'm accustomed to, being a city girl, they talk really, really fast. I talk to my friends and they think I talk fast, but they talk so much faster. I'm used to it because my uncle and my dad talk fast, but they talk so fast. So one day, I was having this conversation with my cousin, and then my mom comes in, and of course she has to pose this question. Do you guys understand each other okay? And my cousin looks at me and he's like, yeah, I understand her. I just don't understand why it takes her so long to finish her sentences, because apparently I talk really slow to them, so I just look like that. But then I looked at my mom and I'm like, yeah, I understand him. I mean, we talk English, and English is English. There's just things that I don't understand, like terms and vocabulary and stuff. One thing I didn't understand was the word fet and the word lime. Not L-I-M-E, L-Y-M-E. So apparently a fete is a really big raging party, and a lime is like an accidental party where you just have more and more people show up, and then someone has music, and then someone brings the alcohol, and then you find yourself in a lime, but it's not as big as a fete. I'm still not really sure what that word means. Some other interesting, peculiar things that I found. Christian is Christian, and my family in Trinidad is Catholic, but I thought it was cool because there were some very inherently West Indian Trinidad traits in their Catholicism, I'm gonna say. When I was younger, my dad didn't let people touch my hair because he believes that people can blight you by ill will, and by them wishing bad things upon you, it can negatively affect your life. And things like this, I saw things like this in Trinidad, like in everyday occurrences. Like my cousin, my uncle was talking about how one of my cousins didn't talk when he was small, and he's like, well, one of the neighbors must have blighted him as a baby, or him and his mom together. And then he's like, when this person comes up to you, the neighbor he thought blighted the child, he's like, curse her out. And this child didn't talk, and he cursed out the neighbor, and then he never had a problem talking again. So things like this, like people blighting others, and things like jumbies, and this really weird demonism, protection, certain habits and traits and things like that. I saw how they were very, very much prominent in the culture, even though that I would only find these traditions here and I wouldn't really find them anywhere else, even though I'm Trinidadian American here, Christian. It's just only in the Caribbean. So 10 days were up and the wedding and my vacation was over, so we got on the plane and we came back to home sweet home New York. And it was a very interesting vacation, mixed with good things and bad things and all. And yeah. So then we got a phone call. It was my auntie Sandra saying that my cousin Janelle, Joy's sister, is getting married this summer. So looks like we're going back to Trinidad for another wedding and a cross-cultural experience take 2.
Canal. 1, 2, 3.